It's kind of cool that my entire journey with Tyler has all been documented. It started when I fell in love with Flower Boy's Soundscape, an album many of you pointed out to be a pivotal shift in his artistry. Then Igor swept me away with its beautiful storytelling about identity and relationships, becoming one of my favorite albums of all time. While his next album, Call Me If You Get Lost, didn't initially hook me. Its deluxe version, The Estate Sale, completely won me over with its additional tracks. Oh, and I also listened to the Grinch-inspired album, a surprisingly fun, festive collection. I'm not really sure what to expect from Chromacopia, but I'm excited nonetheless. I'm eager to see Tyler's latest evolution, and I can't wait to hear where he takes us this time. So with that, let's begin.
You are the light. It's not on you, it's in you. Don't you ever in your motherfucking life dim your light for nobody.
Chromacopia, Chromacopia, Chromacopia.
Calm down, sit still, that's what men VH1. Top down, big deal, I don't fucking know that.
Synchroma feels like a strong thesis statement whispered in intimacy. In this album, Tyler opens up about growing up in LA and rocketing into stardom, leading to a borderline identity crisis that we get the chance to explore.
I built a path of freedom, cause in words that he said, give a fuck about tradition, stop impressing the dead.
Light inside, can you feel that fire?
Can you feel it, can you feel it?
Chromacopia.
He views his home and upbringing as Chromacopia, and I definitely see this album as a reflection of his core values. Where does he go from here?
Don't you ever stop being who you are and doing your life for none of these motherfuckers out here.
Can you feel the light inside? Can you feel that fire?
She ain't never met no one who talk like that. And if you hang up on a nigga, bitch, I call right back. Yeah, crib so damn big, I need a diaper and a sippy cup. Someone tells Zendaya she my favorite, can she hit me up?
The excitement and hype of this piece helps contextualize the next one. He's earned everything he has, and it makes sense to fear losing it all in an instant.
The white fish never raise a hand and strap on him like a dyke bitch. This dark work like night shift. I'm thunder, I light shit. I flood this, I flood that. I swim good, I'm Pisces. Hey T, why you acting hard? I'm like, baby, please. Bitch, you bossing up. Now we really bossing up. I could never rock no Hellcat. Shit don't cost enough. 20,000 on me, 100,000 on me, 50,000 on me. A couple thousand on it. You moving sloppy if you get that sloppy where you sleep at. Never tell them niggas or those women where you breathe at. Brody said a job this for me. He the cameraman. They hoes went to Lusinga. I skated to Hamilton, the biggest out the city after Kenny. That's a fact now. She ain't never met no one who talk like that.
I adore how much love he still holds for Odd Future. While I can appreciate their impact, I still haven't ventured too deeply into that era. I don't even know where to start.
I'm paranoid now cause niggas weird and really bums. I'm paranoid now cause niggas weird and really bums. I'm paranoid now cause niggas weird and really bums. I'm paranoid.
Like with any soul searching, it's good to start at the very beginning. That's what Tyler's doing here, reaching back to his African roots, feeling its influence in both his life and in music.
I can't even buy a home in private. Home invasions got my brothers dying. Notice every car that's driving by. I think my neighbors want me dead. I got a cannon underneath the bed. Triple checking if I lock the door. I know every creek that's in the floor. Motherfucker, I'm paranoid.
Unfortunately, my music history classes didn't really cover too much African music, so I took this as an opportunity to dig deeper. I stumbled on a cool mini-doc about Zamrock that I'll link in the description. It even features the original song Tyler sampled in this track.
Don't trust these people out here, please. Whatever you do, keep to yourself. Keep your business to yourself. Don't even trust these motherfucking accountants, because they will try to get over on you, okay? Please, because I don't want to have to fuck nobody up. I promise to God.
So good.
That sugar right
Watch your surroundings.
The chaotic energy, panning, and layering fuel the all-consuming, unsettling feeling of paranoia. It feels dizzying, perfectly matching the lyrics about his anxiety and unease.
Take pictures with you niggas or bitches. Ain't no respect for nothing. Voice recording all discussions. Her, him, they, them, or anybody. I don't trust them at all. Some pray for my fall. Hearing clicks on the calls. Niggas hacking for some rough Dre shit. Cook, Brody. Look, Brody. Handshakes got me shook, Brody. Niggas want info about me. Read a book on me. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder. Look. Leave me alone. Damn. Paranoid.
Oh my goodness. So this one was released as a single. Interesting introduction into the album then. Can definitely feel the paranoia, especially more toward the end. Voice recording our discussions or like taking pictures when he's trying to eat or whatever. I think it's normal, it's natural to feel curious about the people that you look up to or that have inspired you or that you really resonate with their art. But there's still people at the end of the day. I don't know. You know, this has been a recent conversation happening in the music space with Chapel Roan very explicitly demanding respect, honestly. Like, you know, privacy is something that I take very seriously, that I think that everyone deserves, even incredibly famous artists like Tyler.
Whatever you do, don't ever tell no bitch you love her. If you don't mean it, don't tell us.
Check.
Darling, I keep
Cute though. I admire Tyler's openness in exploring his sexuality, and I find his journey to be kind of a canon event these days. We're in a loneliness epidemic, wishing to connect with others on different levels, and figuring out what we value from and what we can offer in our relationships.
Pretty as shit. See monogamy, that shit is not for me. One option for everybody, don't you lie to me. Too many rules, I'm too curious to try to be hiding things, feeling shame but inside of me. Cause perfect for the time being, I ain't do nothing wrong. Life is short but forever is so goddamn long. I like a long time, I'm on my own time. I let this good old, I hit the gold mine. I'm thinking new crib, I'm thinking 2 kids, until I get infatuated with a new bitch. But when that gray hair finally come, at least I felt something if I ain't found the one. Nobody could fulfill me like this music shit does, so I'll be lonely with these Grammys when it's all said and done. Come on.
Coming off of Noid, I believe Tyler's pointing to his own commitment issues and why he doesn't want to settle down. Not necessarily advocating non-monogamy, as I've seen others suggest.
Everybody's different, you know? And it's not just sex. I get different things from different people. And I want you to explore too. Have those moments and experiences. I don't own you. It's not fair just to be stuck with me.
I guess it's a hot take, but I'm hesitant to trust Tyler's words here, since his earlier songs reveal raw and overt jealousy. But people do change, so as long as everyone involved feels fulfilled in their relationships, I'm happy for them.
Transparency is key, be honest. Always, always, always wear a condom. Don't trust it.
Hey Jane, we got the news and I ain't know what to do. I didn't panic, I was comforting you.
Oh my god. The song's message struck me right away. An unexpected pregnancy and the tough choices ahead. It's refreshing to hear an artist tackle this subject at all, let alone with such care, in a world where it feels like we're sliding backward on women's rights and abortion access and healthcare.
I ain't in the space to raise no goddamn child. Hey Jane, I'm terrified, petrified. I don't wanna give my freedom up or sanitize it. This my fault, the results are justified. I fuck up Jane, who am I to come bitch and complain? You gotta deal with all the mental and the physical change, all the heaviest emotions and the physical pain, just to get a kid the man last name. Fuck that.
As I've been getting older, I've been wrestling with the considerations and responsibilities of parenthood. You've probably noticed this from the themes that have made me sob on this channel. It's comforting to hear from Tyler that I'm not alone in these thoughts.
No question. We got the news and I forgot how to breathe. In the panic, you was comforting me. Damn, what do we do? What are the odds? Is this really true? If it was bound to happen to me, I'm lucky as you. I'm 35 and my ovaries might not reset. I don't wanna live my whole life feeling regret. Damn, a feeling you can never understand. I can't. You just hope to God I get my period again. I was 24 when Look, I don't wanna go through that experience.
It's so important that he shares his partner's experience too. I know that to have already endured either a miscarriage or abortion can make this decision even more difficult, perfectly capturing the emotional weight of her choice.
Tell truth, I ain't wanna tell me. Emotions is throwing around like a frisbee. My titties getting bigger and I'm craving a 10-piece. No matter the decision of the day, I just want us to be cool either way. No pressure.
Oh my god. No. A lot to say about tracks 4 and 5. A lot that I can relate to, a lot that I can see my own past conversations in. At first, oh my god. At first, during Darling I was thinking, damn, this is too obvious. This is too on the nose to be talking about in this way in music. This is a conversation to be had between two people. There's no way that I would enjoy this in music. And maybe I won't. Maybe I will never listen to these tracks again because they hit too hard right now. A lot of these thoughts from Darling I were exploring other options other than monogamy. I mean, I've had those conversations the last couple of years as well. I feel like we're all kind of on, or a lot of people are on the same page there, so maybe more relatable from both ends, from Jane and from T. Oh my god. At this moment in time, I'm I don't even want to listen to the rest of the album. I kind of want to just sit and cry. But I'll push forward. Maybe I should take a break. I don't know. Because the way that Tyler does these, there were a couple of these also in Call Me If You Get Lost, the very constant barrage, either conversation or monologue, explanation of where his head's at right now. It's a bit, overwhelming, to say the least. I try not to make these videos all about me or my perspective on things, and I try to give you enough information where it's oh yeah, I can see why this would be relatable to you or why you have the reaction that you do, while also maintaining that level of privacy that he talks about in Noid, for example. It's getting harder and harder. No pressure.
Your new hot comb go round and round. Your new blowout go round and round. The 3-6 waves go round and round. The grease adding up, it go round and round. I gotta work, I gotta eat. If they see you on top of me, I gotta leave, bitch, I killed you. Your natural state is threatening to the point that I point at myself and self-esteem, bitch, I killed you. You were so essential, how we used to pick you, cause you was a simple.
From first listen, I thought the song's message was about killing a part of you to conform to fit society's standards. With black hair as just an example, I didn't recognize until my subsequent listens that black hair wasn't just the example, it was the entire message.
So elected damages, to kill you. I gotta work, I gotta eat. If they see you on top of me, then I'm at peace against the elements. Call you fragile, say you delicate. You the room, baby, they the motherfucking elephant. Talking about my heritage, I could never kid.
The production shifts to an uplifting, warm lead with gentle percussion, mirroring this journey to celebrate his natural black hair. He says type 3 is a type 4. Fuck it, get down, this is my crown. You got kinks in your mind, boy. I didn't mean to. You're so beautiful.
Fuck it, get down, this is my crown. You got kinks in your mind, boy. Named Judy at the cafe on my way. Her breasts were near her chest and she had curls that hit her face. Her legs were Eiffel Tower, I could tell her daddy black. Peanut butter jelly toasted in her lap. So I won't judge Judy.
I feel extremely conflicted about Judge Judy because, well, Tyler has come out to say it's one of his favorites off the album, and I'm not judging Judy. Actually, I came from it more judgmental toward Tyler.
Your body counting, who you fuck is not my concern, cause I don't judge.
That's not
Judy. It's your fetish. No, I don't judge Judy. She's just like me.
I agree with the sex positivity, but the framing felt reductive. The contrast between Judy's open sexuality and hidden pain really struck me. We learn she's been suffering. I first interpreted it as mental health struggles revealed in her suicide note. Others concluded brain cancer.
Past year has been rough, it spread it to my head. I knew it when we met. If you're reading, it's too late. I'm on the other side, but I just wanna say, we're not judging Judy.
Either way, I felt terrible. I hated how Tyler really only saw Judy as a sexual object, even after revealing her passing. I'm sure he didn't mean it that way, and maybe I'm too sensitive, but he didn't even know what she was going through, so I feel for her.
It's getting sticky.
Moving on so quickly didn't help the unease, but I was intrigued by the whistling, so I followed along.
Knock, 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 knocking at the door. I keep them nicknames on him, cause I keloid my fist. Give a fuck about pronouns, I'm that nigga and that bitch is
Lit ass bitch, step inside me, pop shit. Glass fuck, niggas wrong with that motion. I be in the cut, sneaky link. She say that's her nigga, I don't give a fuck.
I adore the format of this song as it reminds me of classroom freestyles and the raw energy of spontaneous creativity. Glorilla's voice is strong and dominating, and I want to check out her work.
Is that actually Tyler? That does not sound like him at all. That sounds like someone else. What?
God instead of me, bitches.
It's sexy. Yeah, sexy in this bitch, Tyler in this bitch, we turned this fuck. Bitches mad, but can't be my asshole. Run it up. I don't fight for my respect, bitch, I fight for D. Baby girl, I'm finna rock your shit.
Sticky situation, discombobulation. Caught me red-handed, palms itching like rosacea. Standing like ovation on business occupation. Dripping condensation, got a whisper conversations.
I haven't yet heard a Lil Wayne feature I didn't love. He sounds smoother here too. I don't know why or how to put it, but with a cleaner delivery than usual.
Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch. Better find a mop, it's getting sticky in this bitch.
Side with it, tell them niggas I did it. Allergies to bum niggas, I see you, my eyes itching. This shit, pillow talking, stay away from coma. A home wrecker, I been fucking who I wanna. Okay, bet, skip the sex, rub my face, break my neck, fuck now, move swinging like Chad, fuck that aiming by, hitting everything that's in my way.
Everyone's voices and infectious energy played together nicely, with such seamless transitions and unique flavors between the verses. A true team effort.
This one's gonna be a crowd pleaser for sure. Hope I can see it live.
Big guns, what you got, huh? Was a drama club, you's an actor, but now cuz.
The masks that Tyler pulls off of others have opposing narratives. Sensitivity behind toughness, sexuality behind faith, deep depression behind a seemingly perfect home life.
Yeah. Sad story. Sick of all the shame, sick of all the pain that's within. Scared of being seen, tired of rebuking a sin. Traded all to be free and shine bright like the sun. But you back on that religion shit as soon as you come. You would start all over if we keeping it real. Current life is full, but you ain't feeling fulfilled. Fantasize about the dreams you left on the shelf. Can't even get alone time to think of killing yourself. Let's talk about it.
That one resonates with me most. I could easily find myself walking down a road like that. Oh, don't worry, everything's fine. But I hope I take my mask off before I reach that point.
Two won't stay hard, pain in your chest. Hair falling out, won't blame it on the stress. Claim it's new partners, blame it on your ex chest. Claim it's reflex, try to blame it on the cook. Look, boy, I keep $10 million invested, no justifying that. Trying to sell them weird ass clothes, nobody buying that. Sentiment is right, but your audience isn't racked enough. That shit is a failure, my nigga. Go ahead and pack it up and put it in the trunk. You talk a lot of shit to not even be number one. Your beats ain't placing, feeling it's a rap in the booth. Dog, how dare you try to ruin her marriage? Claim you never wore a mask and how you don't get embarrassed. Boy, you selfish as fuck, that's really why you scared of being a parent. Boy, that therapy needed, I dare you to seek it.
And finally, after unmasking everyone else, Tyler rips off his own mask in such an unfiltered, self-deprecating way that it makes me uncomfortably examine my own masks because I'm no stranger to wearing them. Neither are you. Wow. Beautiful.
Nigga, I'm getting old and I need a grandchild. Please, you know that? Just one, please. All I need is one.
My mother's hands don't look the same. These jet black strands are turning gray. But don't you wait on me, I'll be fine.
For the most part, I'm at peace with getting older. What I can't accept is watching my loved ones age. Each visit back home reveals subtle changes. Graying hair, slower steps, softer voices.
Energy, that version of T that you knew was a memory. Who is that? You niggas get too attached to hear it, fear it, face clear, few wrinkles on my spirit. My brody had another baby, that's like number 2. My homegirl and I tired, she like 32. They sharing pictures of these moments, shit is really cute. And all I got is photos of my Rari and some silly suits. Will I flip a switch and finally settle down? Go the other way and keep my pennies down.
I heard this as a question, but will I flip the switch? Reflective instrumental outro. The delicate finger-picking of the guitar creates a reflective mood, while the chords drift into melancholy, a soft surrender to life's passing moments.
It's more to life than just fucking working, bro.
Okay, bitch, I've been trapped in a zoo. Nigga got plaques like the crack of a tooth.
God, the album's a roller coaster of emotions. I appreciate how gently Tyler coaxed me out of the last track's moodiness with the longer, more encouraging intro to this piece.
Get love in the hood, but I must leave. Born way in the hills where they can't see. Swear I burned 20 M's 2018. Like I played for the Bills going no D. Niggas sitting here.
That gene. Never seen a nigga with a fucking cat gene. If I never think he gon' get black beat. Niggas thought I was dead.
I believe I've only heard one other piece of Schoolboy Q's work on the Black Panther album, but I've loved spotting his fingerprints across the hip-hop world that I've explored so far.
I don't wanna be found. I don't wanna be down. White boys mocking this shit and y'all mad at me, y'all can suck my dick. Pull up old tweets, pull up old t-shirts, all that, I'll moonwalk over that bitch. CT changed like the fit got dirty. I was young man and a nigga hit 30. I was 1 mil and a nigga hit 30. Bitch, you ain't Coco golf, you can't serve me. Anti-what? Yeah, right. Niggas running they mouth, keep it airtight. 5 in the morning, I be hating on shit. 10 in the evening, I be hating on shit. 10 years later, might have changed my mind. I'm a fake ass bitch, don't kill me.
I've done a shit job at pointing them out, but I keep catching references, mirrors, and foils to Tyler's past work. His openness to explore and question his beliefs feel really genuine, even or especially when I don't share his views.
These niggas are sad. Me, I'm overhead. These niggas thought I was dead.
Some of my favorite lines so far.
Look at you, I swear to God. Big.
She said that I make expressions like him.
I envision Tyler on stage, under a spotlight, accompanied by a second Tyler at the grand piano. Most of the song is stripped back, allowing him space to work through his unresolved feelings of growing up fatherless.
Like him, like him. And affection.
It's so dramatic, and I don't mean that pejoratively. It pulls me right into his emotional world, his inner thoughts. The ebb and flow mirrors his conflicted state, building and releasing tension through softer passages.
Like him, like him. Mama, I'm chasing a girl. Do I look?
I Everything has been building to this cathartic climax, letting everything go to finally get closure. I really feel for Tyler in these moments.
It was my fault, not yours, not his. It was my fault. I'm sorry. You know? It was my fault, not him, because he always wanted to be there for you. And I'm sorry for that. He's a good guy. So don't hold that against him, because it was my fault. Just, forgive me.
Yeah, we ain't talking to your dumb ass. You could be a millionaire and still be a bum ass boy. I've been in a dream, I've been on a team. Okay, need your vibes. Fuck them regrets. Call them and get all that weight off your chest.
Upon re-listens, I often wish this was the final track of the album. It captures that sensation of release, like watching the titular balloon float away into the endless sky. It has a reminiscent energy of Enjoy Right Now Today off Flower Boy.
Where the swamp is? Flyest bitch up in the room, I need a cocktail. And he is gay, then I am gay, and we are now. Me and Tyler finna take your bitch down. I air this bitch out like a queen. I send your ass back to the streets. I spray your whole block with LaFleur. He gon' eat this pussy up cause it's sweet.
And stumbling onto Doechii this way, it cracks me up. Her energy matches Tyler's playful silliness, airy and light, just weightless.
Stop.
Oh wow, that was so fun. I love the style of this one. And Doechii, I really need to check out her album. I've heard it's so good. Also got the +1 from Kendrick Lamar, so really looking forward to that.
Whether it's recurring melodies, words, or echoes of earlier questions, the final track weaves together musical themes from the album's earlier songs. What more could you ask for?
Interesting.
And I need a hand, can you squeeze the man? My shit spinning like a ceiling fan. No alcohol, no pill in hand. My only vice is them sweets and the moves I spin. You better calm that down, for that nigga pop that round. And T.O. will not be found. Hot glue in my palm like ooh, Spider-Man Velcro. Nigga, I'm not you option. Maybe I should before I'm too old and washed up like dishes. Never bite tongue till it too sore. If you was gonna apologize, fuck you shoot for. Phew, phew. When I pop, you could never moonwalk in my Chuck Taylors. Brownie, you niggas is jabronis. I'm from the city where they ran up in Saucony. 31-0 shit thirsty. Bitch Sue for.
Tyler said he wanted to open up in this album, and he's definitely shared plenty. But I'm left thinking there is a lot up for interpretation, not because he's trying to deceive us, but because he's still learning to trust us and himself.
Shit. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, bro. Like, you just never cease to amaze me. Like, there's no words right now how I feel. Do your thing. Just keep shining.
Maybe that's the point. Growth isn't linear, and sometimes the most honest thing to acknowledge is our own uncertainty. The album's final moments feel less like a conclusion and more like an invitation to begin again.
Wow. Okay. Gonna need some time to sit on this one. It does feel a lot like a stream of consciousness of maybe things that he's been going through regarding, his relationships, another exploration of identity and commitment, his role in other people's life, and maybe feeling a bit selfish for wanting to protect the part of him that is just bursting with creativity and artistic expression and the way that we've seen it come out in these projects. And, I think that's fine. I think that's okay. So thank you for listening with me. Hope you're doing well. No one really knows what's coming next, but we've been keeping busy elsewhere, so I hope to see you around. And until then, stay tuned, stay safe, and be kind.